Angular models are core concept in Angular applications which help to organize the application structure by grouping the related components, service, etc. An Angular module is a container that groups related component, directives, pipes and services into a single unit. It helps organize an Angular applications and make it modular, maintainable and reusable. So types of Angular models. There are mainly four Angular models are used. Root model, future model, shared model and routing model. First one is root model. It is the main model of the applications. It bootstraps the application. It's load first. Then future models. It groups later functionality. Example, product model, admin model. Third one is shared model. It contains reusable components, directives and pipes. It used across multiple models. Then core model. It contains singleton services used through the applications. It is imported only once in app model. Advantages of Angular model. First one, it improves code organizations. That is, model divide a large applications into smaller logical sections, making the code easy to understand and manage. Example, separate model for login, product, cart and payment. The second one is it promotes reusability. Components, directives and pipes can be shared and reused across different part of the applications. Example, a navigation bar or footer component can be reused in multiple modules. Third one, support lazy loading for better performance. Future modules are loaded only when the user navigates to them, reducing the initial loading time. Example, the admin module loads only when an administrator login. The fourth one, it simplifies maintenance. Changes made in one module do not affect the other module, making debugging and update easier. Example, updating the payment module does not impact the product module. And then enable team-based development. Different developers or teams can work on different models simultaneously without conflicts. Example, one team develop the user model while other develop the order model. Sixth one is it reduces the code duplications. Common functionality is placed in a shared model and reused whenever needed. For example, a custom button component or date formatting pipe is created once and used through the applications. And then the disadvantages of Angular model. Complex structures for beginner. Understanding multiple models and their relationship can be confused for new developers. For example, knowing where to place component, services and share resources take time. Second one, increased project complexity. Creating many modules in small applications can make the project unnecessarily complex. So example, a simple student management system may not need separate modules for every feature. And then configuration overload. Each model requires configurations such as declarations, import, export and providers. Example, forgetting to import a record model can lead to the complications error. And then dependency management issues. Managing dependency between the models can become difficult in large applications. Example, incorrect model imports may cause circular dependency or unexpected errors. And then shared model misuse. Placing too many unrelated components in a shared model make it difficult to maintain. Example, mixing logging component with common UI component in the same shared model. The final one is lazy loading requires additional configuration. Although lazy loading improves performance, setting it correctly requires routing configurations and planning. For example, developer must configure lazy loader routes separately. So real-time example for modules. Example, online shopping applications. Imagine you are developing an Amazon or Flipkart application. Instead of writing the entire applications in a singular model, Angular divides into the multiple features. Here, app model is divided into user model, product model, cart model, order model as well as payment model. The user model contains the detail about login, registers and profile. The product model has product list, product details, search product. And then cart model contain add to cart, wish list and then checkout. The order model contains the detail about the order history tracking. And then the payment model contains the detail about the payment gateway, invoice and then receipt. In Angular, a model plays an important role in structuring an Angular applications, make it easier for others to understand by simplifying viewing the application's hierarchy. An application is considered well structured if each concern is separated into the own model. Here, first one is app model. App model is also called as root model. It starts the applications, load all the features model and then display the main page. So like the main entrance of the shopping mall where every customer enters before visiting different section. Second one is user model. It contains login, registration, forget password and then user profile. In real time, it handles all the user account related activities. And then product model. It contains product list, product details, categories and then product search. In real time, it displays all the product available for purchase. And then the fourth one is cart model. It contains add to cart, remove item, wish list and then update quantity. In real time, it stores the product selected by the customer. And then the fifth one is order model. Order model contains place order, order history, order tracking and then cancel order. In real time, it manages everything related to the customer's order. And then the final one is payment model. It contains credit or debit card payment, UPI payment, net banking and invoice generation. In real time, processes payment securely. So here thinking of a shopping mall. So mall contains the Angular application. Main entrance is tab model, electronic section is the product model, food court is the cart model, and then billing counter is the payment model, and the customer service desk is the user model. Each section has its own responsibility, but together they make one complete shopping mall, just as Angular model together form a complete applications. So without model, all features are placed in one file. The applications become difficult to develop and maintain. By using with model, each team works on a separate model. The code is organized and reusable. Maintenance become easier. Performance improve with the lazy loading. Then how to create a Angular model? So in your code editor such as VS Code, open any existing Angular applications or create new one. In the step 2, open the terminal in your code editor and go to your applications directory as follows. Give cd application directory. For example, cd my app. In the third step, create a new model using the follow command. That is ng generate model auth is your model name. So once the above command is executed successfully, you may see this command. And the step 4, toggle the auth folder, you may able to see the auth.model.ts file. It's some default code as follows. So this is the code for auth.model.ts. And then once you create it, you have to use the Angular model. As we created a new model named Auth in your applications, to use it properly in our Angular applications, you have to follow these steps below. First, you have to import the model. So import the new creator model with your root model or in the component of your applications as follows. So this is the code of app.ts. You have to import all the necessary models. Step 2, you have to create the components. You have to create two different component named login and sign up as follows. So make sure that component with that ng model should be known standalone. Otherwise, you may get an error. So in step 3, import and export the models. So open the r.model.ts file and import both the component with that ng models as follows. In conclusions, the Angular models are important for building scalable, maintainable, and structured applications. Models in Angular help organize and structure your code, make it easier to manage and understand. And then Angular root model. In addition, the app model is a place or container where we group all the other components, directive, pipes, etc. In Angular, the root module is named app module, so which is the entry portions of the Angular applications. So it is a class defined with decorator at ng module, which provides the data about the data to configure the module. In your Angular applications, a standalone applications it's an application that does not contain the at ng module in which all the component directive and services are independent. If the project is standalone, the app module.ts file will not be available in your Angular applications. So then creating the no standalone applications. In case to work with the root module, we need to create a no standalone applications. So ng new my app then no standalone. If your Angular application is no standalone, you will be able to see the app model within your Angular application, but if not, you may not be able to see it. However, you can create your custom model using the command ng generate model name, but that will not be considered as a root model. Then you go to a source app folder. You will be able to see the app model.ts file as follows. So this is the screenshot of app model.ts, and then open the app model.ts file in your code editor. It is automatically created. It is the default code.
A few of the key parts of the root models which are declaration, imports, providers, bootstrap. So first one, declaration. Declarations are an array that contains a list of components, directives and pipes that belongs to this model. For example, the app components is a part of the model, so it is included in the declaration. Second one, imports. The imports are an array which lists out all the other models whose exported classes are needed by the components in this model. As you can see, the imports contain the app routine model and the browse model. And then providers. The providers are an array which lists the services available to the injector and can be used through the model. The final one is bootstrap. Bootstrap is also an array in at ng model. It specifies the root component that Angular should create and insert into the index.html host web pages. The app components listed within the bootstrap array, which specify that it is in the application's root component. So that's all about the Angular root component. So next one is Angular future model. You can create different future models for various functionalities. For example, an authentication model to handle user login and sign up, while an admin model provides a separate dashboard for user management. Additionally, a shared model can include common elements like the header and the footer. To create a future model in your Angular application, you need to create a custom model and then generate some components, directive services, and routing that belongs to this model. So this model can share its features through the entire applications. So this is the real-time example for the future models. User authentication. Here, the purpose is allow the user to secure login and access the applications. Yet the features include that user registration, login, logout, forget password, reset password, and then email verification. Here the example flows are first user open the applications and then click the login and then enter the email and the password. System validate a credential. If valid, it generates a session token and then it redirects to the dashboard. If invalid, display an error message. And then the finally user clicks logout and then the session is terminated. So these are the some steps to create a future model in Angular. So the first step, open any existing project in your preference code editor or create a new project using the following command ng new my app. And then the second step, it will create the model. So create a new model admin using the following command ng generate model admin, then routing. The third step, you have to create a component. So create a two component about and contact using the following command ng generate component admin slash about and then ng generate component admin slash contact. In step 4, you have to create a service. So create a service class admin service using the following command ng generate service admin service. In step 5, you have to define the routes. Open the admin routing.model.ts file and then define the routes to navigate the admin components. Here you have to give the code. Once you create a future model, then we see how to use a future model in Angular. So in step 1, we have to import the future model. So open the app.ts file in your code editor, then import the admin model and add to the importer array. In step 2, open the app.routing.model.ts file and define the routes for the admin model to navigate through its component when the admin route is active. In step 3, rendering the future model component template. Here you have to open the app.template and create the links to navigate the respective component template. So in step 4, run the application using the following command. Finally, got the output in the localhost 4200. The final applications will look like this. So the final application will look like this. Then the advantages of future model. The first one is reusability. Future model can be reused across the different applications or in different part of the same application. Second one is organized structure. By partitioning the applications into different parts based on the rules and functionality, you can create a well-organized application structure. And then improved testing. Testing becomes more straightforward by using the future models. The last one is consistent dependency. Each model can manage its own dependency. So the main difference between the future models and the root models are in future models, is mostly created by the user to organize the application structure. In root model, it is generally automatically created by the Angular CLI. And then in the future model, provides a way to organize the code into the structured way of the later functionality. In root model, it serves as the application entry point and set a basic structures and configuration. In future model, it can be a lazy loading model that enhances the application's performance, as well as in the root model, eagerly loaded as it required to bootstrapping the application. So finally, in future model, it contains the various declarations such as directives, components, and pipes. In root model, it contains the declarations, imports, and root level providers which are necessary for running the application. And then shared model in Angular. Creating the shared model allow you to organize and simplify your code, reducing the redundancy of repeating the same thing within the same application. Shared model is a custom model design or created by the developer based on the requirement of the application. The shared models allow the developer to access its components through the application. A model itself is not a shared model until it is property imported into the other models where its components are needed. First, you have to create a shared model. In step 1, you have to open the project such as VS Code. In step 2, you have to navigate to the application directory. Open the code editor terminal and navigate to your applications directory as follows. Example cd my app. In third step, you have to create a new model by using the command ng generate model share. Once the above command is executed successfully, you should be able to see the share folder. So in that folder, there will be a file name shared module.ts with the default code. So this is the shared module.ts file. So finally, the advantages of shared modules are it increases the application performance by using the reusable components, directive, etc. It organizes the applications and streamlining the code. It increases the application modularity as well as it decreases the redundancy. So finally, observing the shared model of shared model, you can use its components, directives, and pipes across the entire applications rather than creating the multiple times within the same model. And then the final one is Angular routing model. In Angular, a routing model is a special model that handles the configurations and management of routes within applications. It defines the routes for the various components to navigate between the views or the components. So these are the steps to create a routing model in Angular. So in step 1, you have to create a new Angular project. Step 2, you have to create app route.ts. And then in step 3, you have to update the route.ts using the following command. And then in step 4, you have to create the standalone components. Finally, in step 5, you have to define the routes. And then the advantages of routing models are centralized route management. All applications routes are defined in one place. Make route management easier. Second one, easy navigation. It enables the smooth navigations between the pages without reloading the applications. And then it supports the lazy loading. Load future model only when they are needed. It improves the application performance. It gives the better performance. Restrict access to the protected pages. It allows only the authorized user to access the specified routes. And then route guards for security. URL based navigations. Each page has a unique URL. User can bookmark and directly access pages. And then it supports the nested nodes. Organize later pages under a parent root. It makes navigations more structured. It supports the dynamic routes, passes parameter through URLs. It uses the same component for different data. And then the modular architecture. Each future model can have its own routing configuration. Keep the project organized. The final one is Angular NG model. In Angular, the NG model is a class marked within the at ng model decorator, which is specified as an Angular model. This decorator provides a metadata that tells how to compile and run the model code and configure the dependency injection. So here is the example for Angular ng model. In that, declarations are an array that contains a list of component directives and pipes that belongs to this model at ng model. Imports are an array which lists out the other component whose exported classes are needed by the component in this model. The component may depend on other component directives and pipe. Add these dependency in this import property of an ng model. And then ng providers are also an array which lists out the services that are available to the injector and can be used through the model. The final one is export class. The export are an array which defines the component directives and pipes that can be used in the template of other modules. So this is the important property of an ng models. So the ng model has several important properties which are declarations, import, expose, provider, and then bootstrap. The advantages of ng models are better code organizations, modular development, code reusability, easy maintenance. It supports lazy loading, encapsulation of features, improved performance, as well as dependency management. So that's all about Angular models.